And we are live. What's good, Josh and man? DL Saint. Welcome. I really want to know podcast, man. How y'all feeling out there? Hope all is well. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. If you're in Central Florida right now, it is gloomy. It is gloomy out there. Raining all day long. It's supposed to be like that all week. You know, people are asking me, why is that? Is there a big storm off the coast? Like, no, man, it's Central Florida. This is just the season. It happens. It is what it is. Today's gonna be a quick one, guys. We're just gonna chop it up, man. We're gonna talk about marriage versus partnership. What's really changed, man? Have we quietly replaced marriage with a corporate merger? What's going on? What are people thinking about? Right? Because hearing all kinds of stuff out there, man. So let's get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome. Did I really want to know podcast, y'all? Get some indeed, man. How you guys feeling out there, man? How's everything going? I don't know if I started off with the applause. I normally do. Kind of groggy, ain't gonna lie. I haven't been sleeping well lately. Been up like all night. It's crazy. And I still got stuff to do. Still gotta like do stuff. So so yeah, I was out with appointments today, came back, fell asleep, and I woke up and was like, oh man, I gotta do this show. So I'm just gonna power through it. Right? You know. Shout out to everybody out there, man. Appreciate all the new supporters. Appreciate all my day ones. You know, we're doing what we're doing. Like I said, I'm making a really concerted effort on this channel to kind of push it as far as I can to see how far we can all take it. Working with AI and other people, just doing everything I can to try to make this platform the best it can be. So yeah, you guys are going to continuously see changes, some upgrades, maybe changes to the format. You see something going on, just realize, you know, I got some information or I saw some or did some research and it's like, okay, I'm gonna try that. But like you guys knows the difference in the thumbnails, kind of trying to keep the thumbnails where they are. Shout out to Chat GPT for doing all that. Still working on some projects I'm working on. All I need to do is put the final touches on the one book I did for the Red Pill World, The Game You Were Never Taught. Just putting the finishing touches on that. And then I've started my notes in a second project, kind of just talking about, you know, what I went through, you know, what it's like dealing with the criminal system, you know, going into a jail or going through the process, working on that right now. And yeah, that's it, man. Just doing whatever. Still looking at ways to succeed in life. You know, I am retired officially, but I'm also out here looking for stuff. Like I love producing. I love being behind the scenes. So I'm kind of working on that. And my daughter, she has 2 more years of high school. So school's about to start. She had band camp starting tomorrow. So she's getting into her junior year. So I'm going to be looking to do more as she gets closer and closer to her senior year. I'm going to be looking to do more and preparing myself for, you know, the next phase. So, and I hope you guys are doing the same thing, man. It's always, you know, should always be self-assessing, always striving to be the best version of yourself. And also, guys, get ready, man. The recession is here. Like we're in it. This is what it looks like. And it's only going to get worse from here on out. It's going to get better at some point, but I think we're in for a long year, maybe year and a half, 2 years if we're unlucky. It could be as, you know, it could take us 2 years to get out of this, but it's a lot going on. Got the war in the Middle East. Still got the Ukrainian thing going on. Still got one eye on China, although China is having its own issues over there. You know, I'm talking about China and Taiwan. But here in America, Americans are finally woken up. You know, Americans are like, they're like, wait a minute. Why am I working so hard and I'm not getting paid any money? But the CEOs and the people sitting on the board of directors and, you know, everyone else on the C-suite's making all this money. They're not even doing anything. They're starting to look at it. And they're looking at people like, you know, Mamdani in New York. They're looking at these democratic socialists who are getting into office and can't be bought. They seemingly cannot be bought by the 1%. And that's a problem for the 1%. So it's a lot going on. Hope you guys are paying attention. Hope you guys are paying attention. I know I am. So let's get into this real quick. Um, 20 years ago, people would say, I'm looking for a husband or I'm looking for a wife. Those words meant something. Um, they implied roles, responsibilities, a shared vision of building a family. Today, listen to the language. You've already heard me talk about this a million times. Like that term partner, if a woman if I'm supposed to be involved with a woman and she introduced me as her partner, that changes the way I see her, right? But I want a partner. That's the thing today. That's what people are looking for. My life partner. I need someone who's established. I need someone who's on my level. I need someone who matches my lifestyle. Mostly coming from women, but men are starting to say this too. Sometimes they feel like people aren't looking for a husband or a wife anymore, right? They're looking for a merger, not someone to build with, but someone who can maintain the life they've already built, right? Building requires sacrifice, and merger requires access. And that's what we're going to talk about, right? We got Dr. B in the building. What's happening, fam? Good to see you. Fam, are you experiencing this? I bet you are. You're in the medical field. You're doing all right. You're doing good things. Are you hearing what I'm hearing? In your opinion, you think are there women out there still and men out there still who want a husband and a wife in traditional relationship, or is it all based on uh, mergers, partnerships? And there's reasons for this, and we're going to get into the reasons today. Um, but tonight we want to explore an idea, man. Have we quietly shifted from a marriage market to a partnership market? That's the question for tonight. And if we have, why? Why is this a thing? Um, did men and women fundamentally change, or did the economy change the incentives? You heard I was just talking about the economy. It's getting tough out here, right? It's going to get tougher moving forward. The next year and a half, 2 years is going to be really rough. Most people don't know what I'm talking about because they didn't live through it. The last time we had a real bad turn in the economy was in the 70s and 80s. And even though I was a little kid, I knew it was different. I saw it. I saw people getting laid off and heard the grown-ups talking. No one could get work. No one could get meaningful work. It was a tough time. People were getting laid off. Reaganomics was hitting. People went from doing fairly well with their, factory jobs to not having a job at all. Unions were big. It's like every factory had a union, right? GM had their union. My mom's worked at this place called US Playing Cars. They made playing cars. They had a union. And all the unions went away. All the jobs went away. I remember that. Even though I was a youngin', I remember that. Um, so you look at housing prices today, student loan debt, career ambition, delayed marriage, two-income households, raising expectations. Like you got rising expectations out there. So all of this is playing a role in, this merger, or, the difference between a merger and a, traditional marriage. Um, Maybe love hasn't disappeared. Maybe love has simply become something people consider. Maybe it's one of those things like, oh, it'd be nice if I really love this woman, or if I really love this man. But they're like, man, I love the fact that they got it together. We merge our resources and we can do better. Maybe we can afford to take vacations. Maybe we can afford to go someplace nice. I can afford to buy nice gifts and have parties on birthdays and stuff like that. Maybe that's better than just let's be in love and struggle. Plus, people having babies later, or getting married later. If they get married at all, they're buying their first home later. All that stuff comes into play. And Dr. B is saying, he's like, yeah, man. Um, he's like, yeah, here and there, but it's dying out a bit. I see it less with younger people though, like Gen Z. I get that. Um, yeah, this is like a new thing, bro. Like, the generations are different. Like our experiences are different. So, but this is just something I noticed, man. Right. So when it comes to love, it's just something they consider after they've checked the resume. Like, okay, you checked out everything else. Now let's look at and actually, uh, I do kind of like you. Maybe that'll grow, but I love your resume. I like you. I mean, that's something to think about, bro. So, and when you think about it, modern dating today feels like an executive interview, right? For those of you who've never been through that process or know anyone who's been through that process, for regular folks, like if when you get your first job, you remember getting your first interview, you kind of go in, You sit down, you go through the interview process, take what, 15, 20 minutes, and then they're like, all right, can you start on Monday? Can you start on Wednesday or whatever? Or you get a call in a couple of days. That's not how the executives do it, bro. That interview process takes a while. Right. And I think that dating today is kind of getting towards that. It's not like just dating, it's just an executive interview. Um, so here's what struck me. Modern dating doesn't always feel like romance anymore. It feels like an executive search, like interviewing a potential CEO or a CFO or a COO, right? So think about the questions people ask. Like, what do you do? How much do you make? Do you own a home? Right? What's your credit score? Where'd you go to school? Do you have debt? What kind of debt do you have? What's your 5-year plan? Those aren't bad questions, but you would think these are the things you find out over time. You just don't come right out, day one, week one. Hey, what's your credit score? Hey, let me can you print out your three bureaus for me? I want to take a peek at your credit history. That's crazy. I knew a dude who was dating a woman. It was a woman he really wanted to be with, and she verified proof of income. She's like, I want to see how much you make before I even consider dating you. And that was, gosh, man, that was 15 years ago, maybe longer. So, and these are smart questions, but they sound less like the beginning of a love story and more like the due diligence before a corporate merger. Like, people aren't just evaluating chemistry anymore; they're evaluating risk. Right, and that's what's going on out here, man. We got Donald J. DeMarco in the building. What's happening, Phil? And I can't say I'm mad. Y'all know me, bro. It's not about being mad at people for doing what they're doing. It's not about hating the players. You can hate the game if you want to, but that's what the game is right now. I mean, you look at America right now, man. People can't afford really to live on their own, if you think about it. The average rent, depending on where you are, somewhere between $1,500, $2,000 a month, right? And then you look at that, right? And then you figure the average or the median income in America is somewhere between 55, 65,000 a year. And with taxes and everything, man, there's a bunch of videos out there now when people are actually just showing their paychecks. They're reading their paychecks. Some of the people are doing really well. You might have like a first year intern doctor reading their check. Like, I got my first check and let's look at it. Oh, it's $1,700, but yeah, you get paid that a week, right? That's based on 40 hours. Then you have people out there who are working over 40 hours a week and they're bringing home like $1,200, and or less. And it's crazy, after taxes and everything, like, man, your net pay is $1,200, $2,400 for the month because they get paid bi-weekly. So I understand why people are saying, hey, man, I'm tired of struggling, or I can struggle by myself. I need to make sure that the person I'm going to attach myself to has some sort of a future, or at a minimum is doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? We got Brother Mandrill in the building. What's happening, fam? And I'm not mad at that. That's just keeping it real. So let's look at what's changed, man. I'm going off my notes. Shout out to Chat GPT. Marriage used to be viewed as a place where two people build a life together. I remember that. I remember going to, weddings and stuff like that. And that's how it was. People started off and they started off with hardly nothing, but they had enough money to get themselves a little apartment somewhere, a little 1-bedroom. And, they both had decent jobs, 40 hours a week. It wasn't no gig stuff. And they just kind of made it happen together. And then you fast forward the clock 20 years down the road, man, they got a nice house, had a couple kids, put the kids, through college or whatever. And they're just sitting back chilling still with the same company, right? Still, doing all right. But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. All right. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Today, many people seem to want someone who already has built a life. Why? Right? Let's look at the incentives. Women have become more educated, right? More women are executives and business owners. Housing costs have exploded. We all know it's just absolutely exploded. Housing, the median house is still somewhere around $400,000 in America for your first home. Two incomes are often required to maintain middle class lifestyle. Required, no longer. It used to be you could do it on one income, right? Driving a bus or driving a cab or working at the factory, one income. Now you got to have two. Um, Marriages happen and later. We just talked about that. People have accumulated less before they even think about marriage. Love may still matter, but it's just not on the top 5 list anymore. But financial uh, compatibility may have become a prerequisite, right? And it makes sense. It makes sense. No one wants to struggle forever. I remember my first job. I worked for Perkins Restaurant back in Cincinnati. It's the first job it was. Our band would go to Perkins once a year to do this fundraising event for the band. It was called Band Night. And the way it worked is, we would tell our family and friends to come to the fundraiser, come to the restaurant on this particular night. And the kids in the band would work with the cooks, work with the wait staff, work with the hostess and all that. And we would basically run around and do the work. They wouldn't let us do anything dangerous. It was just, you might have 3 or 4 kids with one server and they just follow that server and it's like, okay, pick up, they show you how to bust a table and all that. But they won't let you do anything dangerous. If you're in the back helping the cook, you couldn't get over the grills or anything like that. You would be somewhere safe. But it was a great way to raise money for your organization. For us, it was the band. We're going there. The big thing, the perk for the kids was the restaurant would hire some of the kids. The manager would be sitting back watching the kids work and, looking at what they're doing. And they would approach you and say, hey, would you be interested in, working here? Part-time job or whatever. And that's how I got my first job. They saw me working. I was out there busting tables, I think. And they came up to me and asked me if I would like to work. And I'm like, sure. I get kind of how old you are, like you're old enough to work without a work permit and all that. And like, yeah. I was like 15 or 16 at the time. I got hired. And they had me come in that weekend. Band night was on a Monday. I showed up to work on Saturday. And that's how I started. That's how I got my first job. But even working at Perkins back then, I'm a kid, I'm in high school, I got my whole life ahead of me. And I'm looking at and getting to know the people who work there. I mean, like, man, these grown-ups, they're here working their butts off, man. They're working like every day. They were working 5, 6 days a week. Sometimes they were working 12-hour days and they weren't making any money, man. And then like you would go over to their cribs because I worked there for years. You would like kind of go see where they live. We would go to baseball games and stuff like that together. And the people that you thought really had together, like, oh man, you the man at work, like you manage the kitchen or you the general manager. Then you find out they're living in their parents' basement. They can't afford to get their own place. Their parents are still helping them. Married, like you're married and living in your parents' basement. And it's just like wow. And that was back in the 80s. That was back in the 80s. And I joined the military in the 90s, did all that, came back home. I actually wound up working for Perkins again for a hot second. And same thing. It's like, man, they're still here. They're still in the same place, still living the same way they were living. Right. And it blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind. So I understand how people, women, let's keep it 100. Women like, man, I ain't trying to struggle with you. I'm trying to find somebody who has it together. And there's some guys out there I've noticed, guys who've been successful. We're going to talk about that more in this video. There are guys out there who are like, you know what? I'm tired of pulling someone, dragging someone along with me. I am in fact looking for a woman who has it together. Now, here's the thing: most men don't care. Right? Most men, when it comes to women financially, they don't really care, especially if she's fine enough, if she's fit, she's friendly, she's feminine, she adds value. He doesn't care. She could be working at McDonald's or working at, Trader Joe's or working at Starbucks, making minimum wage or a little over minimum wage. He doesn't care. He doesn't. But you got some guys at the top who have gone through the family court system maybe 2 or 3 times. Not only did they have to take care of that woman when they had her, but now they're paying her alimony, right? You got 2 or 3 women like that. You got a budget set aside to just, basically pay for a grown up. And now you're looking at getting a 4th woman and they're like, all right, enough's enough. So we're going to get into that as we continue here. And Mandro, I don't know how they're making it either, bro. I really don't. I don't know how they're making it today. Well, the answer is, brother, people aren't making it. There you go. There's the real answer. People aren't making it. And this is why people are no longer looking for their soulmate and they're looking for partners. I think this is why we're having this conversation. Right. So that's why the financial compatibility becomes a prerequisite, man, above love and everything else. Yo, where are you right now financially? Where you plan on being in 5 years, right? 15 years. So, right. So I had a fascinating conversation with my cousin. This was a few days ago. She's absolutely stunning. She's beautiful, extremely successful. Um, she's like her real estate portfolio and like all of her investments are solid, financially independent. Um, she has built an incredible life for herself. Real talk, right? She's challenged something I believe for years, and this is where all this came from. Her and I were talking, and it was an outstanding conversation. I was thinking like, man, I'd love to get her on the get her on the pond and actually have the conversations. You guys can just hear the conversation. But I've always believed this, and I still do. When it comes to men, dudes don't really care about the financial side. But after having this conversation with her, I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to rethink that. The younger guys, they still don't care. But the dudes who've been through the ringer a few times, those dudes on the other end, like someone like me, it comes into play. It comes into play. I'm too old to deal with going through the family law system again and having to pay some woman a bunch of money. Even it's no more. I mean, no more forever alimony, but I don't want to have to pay someone money. Period. I don't want to have to lose half my stuff because anything that I lose, it's not that I'm losing it; it's my daughter's losing it. So I'm playing with my daughter's future. So yeah, I look at that when there's a lot of women out there who are doing really well financially. I'm like, you know what? If I'm gonna mess with somebody, let me mess with them. I told you guys this before. Like, people, you gonna get married? You ever see me getting married? Best believe that the woman I'm marrying is making 3 times or more than what I make. I'm not the one. If we get married, and she's the one with all the bread. She's gonna be the one coming to me with a prenup. Like, you sign this document. Like, sure, why not? Um, but and why is that? Yeah, I've been wrecked. I've been wrecked, bro. I'm on pace to pay over $500,000 over 18 years, bro. That's $500,000 over 18 years. That's a house, right? That's a house. Why? What are we doing? So yeah, I'm not going through that again. So it makes sense. I'm older. I'm thinking about that as I move into this final phase. Um, but getting back to what my cousin was talking about, she said the men at the very top they aren't looking for wives anymore. They're looking for partners, women with wealth, women with access, right? Women with access to, powerful people, women with assets, women who don't need financial support. If the thing goes bad, if it goes sideways, you ain't got to support them. In fact, if they drag you in the court, they might have to support you. Uh, Women who bring something substantial to the table. It's like, bro, she's right. She's right. You go back and watch my own videos when I keep saying that, like, oh, when it comes to me, this is what I'm looking for. It lines up with that perfectly. You know, so my initial response to her, I disagreed. I still believe that if you're a truly successful man, he has unlimited options. Which again, if you're a dude and you're in the top 20%, or if you're in the top 5%, especially, we were talking about the dudes in the top 5% because again, she's done really well. So we were having this conversation, and I'm like, well, the guys you're talking about, they get to pick who they want. They don't have to put in a lot of work. There's not a lot of dudes like out there like them. They have all the leverage, right? So I disagree with her. I was like, come on, man, those dudes get to pick. And she's like, I understand that. I'm not fighting you on that. Yeah, they do get to pick. Her point was they're picking women who are successful. And I'm like, nah, they getting baddies. And, she's like, yeah, they doing that too. But when it comes down to actually getting into a long-term relationship, and she said it, she's like, they're looking for mergers. So, right. And that kind of goes to what I was saying. He was like, he's probably going to choose the woman he generally wants to be with, not because of her investment portfolio, not because she owns commercial real estate, not because she's worth $20 million, because she's feminine, she's beautiful, she's kind, she's peaceful, someone he enjoys spending time with. If a billionaire has to choose between a woman with $30 million, right, or a woman who generally makes him happy, just genuinely makes him happy, I think he chooses happiness. right? And I still believe that part. And if it comes down to it, if he has two women that are identical, the only difference separating these two women is one is worth $30 million and the other one brings me happiness. And identical, I mean physically, they got all those other traits. But one is like she comes with $30 million and she comes with that empire, and the other one, she just makes him happy. I think the dude takes the happiness in the woman who brings peace over the one that has the money. Now, here's the thing. If everything is identical and both of them bring peace, it's just one of them worked hard and built her future. She built her kingdom, and the other one didn't make as much money. I mean, maybe he does choose the one who has the money because he's thinking, well, everything else is the same. And if this doesn't work, she's not really trying to go through the whole court process because they're going to figure out where all her money is anyway. Maybe she's worth more than 30 million. Maybe her real worth is north of 300 million. So when this is over, she doesn't need me. It's like, it didn't work out. Okay, we just go our separate ways. And maybe there's still some sort of, respect and admiration and friendship there. Whereas the other one with no money, she's like, well, look, I was with you for 7 years and you got to compensate me for all that time. You done got me used to this lifestyle. I still need this. Now you get, worst case scenario, you're paying your lawyer to get you out of it. You might be paying your lawyer anywhere from, $300 to $800 an hour, depending on, how much bread you got and all that. So she got me thinking about it. What are, the guys at the top, who are they choosing? Remember, we're talking about the guys at the top, right? So we're not talking about everybody else. We're talking about the top 5%. We're not talking about the bottom 95, right? So, but then she made me think, my cousin made me think, man, she made one point I couldn't dismiss. Many successful men have already been through the family court system, right? It's what we brought up earlier. Some have paid millions in divorce settlements. Some pay child support. Some pay alimony. Some pay both. Some have already supported one or two families. Like I said, it's like went through it 3 times already. And now you're looking at, the fourth woman just coming into your life. They're not 25 anymore. They're 55. Priorities have changed. They're no longer asking, what do I want to build? Who do I want to build with? They're not asking who do they want to build with. They're asking who can share my life without becoming financially dependent upon me. That's what they're asking. And that made sense to me. I'm like, damn, because that's me. And I'm not even up there. I'm not in the 5% of earners. Right. And it's like, I'm already thinking that way. Like, bro, it's not, I've done that. I've done everything. We're not creating nothing here. Right. She's just coming, she's getting involved and she's along for the ride. So you definitely want to think about that. So it's not necessarily less romantic. It's simply, it may simply be a different stage of life. And that part right there, when my cousin was saying that, I was like, yo, you're just in a different place. And I'm like, damn, she's right. She's right. You know what I mean? So, and brother Donald J. DeMarco, that's why I'm on that Aaron Clary, no kids, owning my own home type ish. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. The Book of Numbers. Shout out to Aaron Clary, man. Shout out to Aaron Clary, man. We'll give him a Don DeMarco for the Book of Numbers, bro. Holla, 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 holla. The Book of Numbers is a great book. Don DeMarco. The Book of Numbers is a great book. I really believe that's required reading. Whenever I work with someone, that's the first thing I tell them. There's 2 books that I'll say right off rip you got to read for a lot of these young guys, especially the guys, or maybe some of the older guys who are red pill raging. I'll still tell them to read these books. It's the Book of Numbers. That was Aaron Clary's book, and it's Unplugged Alpha, Rich Cooper's first book. I'm reading Top Shelf Man now. Top Shelf Man is okay. I'm reading now. We'll do a breakdown on Top Shelf Man here pretty soon, but Unplugged Alpha, must read. You got to read that, right? And Book of Numbers from Aaron Clary. Because I mean, again, it helps you understand the game itself. It helps you understand where we are. So is it really about love or about risk? Right? And you got to look at the changing landscape. You got to look at it. You got to look at where you are in your life, what stage you're in. Again, I'm in my mid-50s. I'm not building with some woman at this point. There's nothing left to build. What am I doing? I'm trying to maintain, and reinforce what I already have. That's what I'm trying to do. What I'm doing from this point on, I'm doing for my daughter. I want to make sure she's squared away. She has what she needs. She's gonna get that leg up. Like the leg up I got from my parents is they put me on game. They told me everything that they knew. They shared that with me, and they sent me out there. They molded me into a good man. They told me to treat people the way you want to be treated, to be your best self. Not to be mean, to stay away from this and stay away from that. They put me on the right path, but they couldn't give me, here's 50,000 or here's 2 million or here's the deed to some land out. They didn't have all that. They didn't have all that. So they gave me the mindset I needed to get out there. And it's like, okay, now go forth, young man. Like go conquer. Right. So I did. I went out there and I did well for myself. I made a bunch of mistakes. Yes, absolutely. 100%. I could have done better. I could have 100%. Right. But I'm still, as long as I got, air in my lungs, I still have the ability to go out here and conquer more and do more. And now that I have that mission, I want to do it. I have a reason to go out here and do more. But I wouldn't have gotten this far without them. Right. And now I can give my daughter something so she can go out and do the same thing. Not only did I give her the game that my parents gave me, but now also I can give her something like you own this, you own that. Right. You have this money here, that money there, go forward. And I can kind of help her with that. I put her around people who can tell her what to do with that money and grow it. And then hopefully she grows it. And then she'll be able to, be there for her kids. So it's a building thing. It's definitely a building thing. Yes, sir. Book of Numbers is a great book, man. I think men need to read the Book of Numbers just so they can start thinking about how much money have they invested in the pursuit of women in their lifetime, bro. Dr. B, yo, what's your number? What's your number? How much money have you invested chasing women, doing your thing over, from the age of, let's say, from 18 to 50? Right. I look back on that. It's like, wow, I did invest a lot of money. I could have, wow. Like the amount of money I invested chasing women. You don't even think about it. Drinks here, lunch there, dinner, a trip, gifts, birthday parties, buying perfume, flowers, whatever it is you out there trying to do. Just the financial cost. He didn't even talk about, the investment of time. Just the financial cost, man, it's crazy. But anyway, is it really about love or is it about risk? Right? Maybe wealth changes dating. I think it does. Maybe experience changes dating even more. 100%. Right? If you've already built everything, already survived divorce, or you've gone through the family law trap, right? Already paid millions in settlements. Like I said, I'm on my way. It'll be north of 500,000 before I'm done. And that's not even counting. That's not even including legal fees and stuff like that. I got to pay all that back. Maybe your biggest priority isn't romance. Maybe it's protecting what you've built. Is that cynical or is that wisdom? Right. And that's pretty much what I just said. I'm in that mode where I'm trying to protect what I have. I still want to grow it a little bit, but it's more like reinforcing what I've already have. I'm not, trying to build anything else. I know where the income is going to go. Right. And I'm fortunate I'm in a position where I can actually take these 2 years and focus on my daughter and make sure she's ready to be a grown up. We have our talks all the time. I can do that. There's so many people today that they have to go to work. And we ain't talking about just one job. They gotta go to work and they're gonna be getting 30, 35 hours at the one job. They go to the other job, same thing, they're getting 25, 30 hours at the other job, and they're doing some sort of gig thing or they're working, some sort of hustle. That doesn't leave any time for your kids. That doesn't leave any time for your kids, man. And you're gonna miss so much. And even if your kids understand, they're still gonna be sad. Like, it's nothing like you play a sport. Let's say you're playing like baseball or football, basketball, whatever sport, soccer, volleyball, whatever you're playing. As a kid, you look up into the stands and you don't see your parents there, man. It hurts. And it sucks, man. You get it. Like, well, they got to work. I understand. Like, I know they tried to be here, but they couldn't be here. You go to your banquet, same thing. They're not there. I played in, I was a musician, played in the band, played in the jazz band. We'd go off and play these gigs all over the place. And you look out in the crowd, You don't see your parents there, bro. And it's just like, damn, And then the crazy thing is when, people come, we would have like family friends that would just happen to be there. I remember I was playing a football game at one of the suburbs, and my Uncle Frank is my dad's best friend. So, Uncle Frank, he was there watching some of the other kids from the neighborhood play. Right. He just happened to be watching the game and I was playing. He didn't, I don't think he knew I was on the team. I don't think of course he knew it was my high school, but I don't think he knew I was on the team, and he saw me. Like he saw me on the sideline or whatever. And he's like, that's, what I'm saying? And my nickname, but he was like, that's Little Saint. Trust me, my nickname wasn't Saint back then. But anyway, he saw me out there and I had a really good game. Like I really did. I had a really good game. I was playing outside linebacker and tight end. Man, I had a good game. Had some really good catches, right? Some like real cool. I had one catch. It's probably one of the best catches I had ever. I'm just kind of doing just a basic out route. And I think I had a linebacker on me, maybe a safety. And he tried to jump the route, but the quarterback was able to get the ball just over his head, but he tipped it. Like he tips the ball and it kind of it's starting to soar over my head. So I adjust the route. And it's one of those kind of juggling catches, you know what I mean? Boom, boom, snagged it, off I went. I scored. That might have been, I think that was about a 35, 45-yard touchdown. My Uncle Frank saw it. And he stayed till after the game. I didn't know he was there. And he came up to me after the game. Boy, you have no idea how proud I was and how good it felt to have my Uncle Frank come out there and he saw me and was like, damn, boy, I know you can play like that. Boy, where your daddy at? Like, he had to work or whatever. And I don't know where Pops was that day. You know what I mean? But he was so proud of me. He was so proud of me. And then you fast forward, we were over Uncle Frank's house later on that year, I think. I had the band gave us these lapel pins. I had a saxophone. I played the alto. So I had a saxophone lapel pin. I wore it everywhere I went. And my Uncle Frank was talking to my dad, like, yo, you missed that game where he was playing such and such, and I saw that game, and he had a really good game, and you missed that. That's probably one of the only games you missed. My dad's just kind of sitting there like, And it's like, bro, I'm sitting there thinking like, man, dude never came to any of the game. None of them. Like, like not when I was playing. Right? A couple times you tried to make it, showed up late or whatever. But like I said, he was busy. He had to work, he had other things going on. Never held against him. Never. You know what I mean? But it was just understood what was going on. And then the band thing, he was like, yo, have you ever heard him? Can the boy really play? And Pop's just like, I don't know, man. Really got a chance to check him out yet. And then Uncle Frank just stopped talking. And he realized in that moment, like, okay, he saw what it was. He's like, all right. But yeah, man, I mean, like with my daughter, like, I go to as many events as I can. Like when she first started playing, I was at every recital. I would go to the games, all the home games. Now it's just like, she tells me, like, Papa, can you come in this game? I'll show up. She wants me there. I'll show up. But a lot of times, like, because I'll ask, like, you want me to show up? It's going to be a good game. She's like, it's the same routine. We ain't did nothing different. It's like, oh, okay. But I still go to the recitals. When they're inside the theater, I'll go to the recitals and watch. And then I film them when I'm there. And then the two of us will watch them in the car. Like, I'll play it back and we'll watch them in the car. And that's a lot of me talking right now. But my bad for going off on that tangent. But the thing is this. A lot of families today don't have the luxury of time to go and watch their kids. Now you see it in the nice neighborhoods at the good schools, man, it's packed, man. The PTAs got all the parents are in there. Like they show up, the boosters are there. Bro, it's like all the parents are there, mom and dad, everybody there, the kids are there, everybody there. But when you go to the other schools, right, the other side of that, the hood schools, the trailer park schools, the barrio schools, that's not the case. Why? Because mom and dad got to work. Mom and dad got to work. So I understand why people, men and women, will take this in consideration. It's like, yo, I need someone that's going to be able to hold it down while I support our kids and we can take turns. All right, I'm going to go to the football game. You go to the soccer game. My cousin would always be there when his daughter played soccer. And it was always like the rec league soccer and all that. It was, man, I went to a handful of games. I live in California. So, it's people that they can't do it. They can't do it. So they have to take this into consideration. I want to be there for the kids. I'm so grateful that I have the time to do it. I could sit back and do these things. I could be there for her. Um, because kids need that, man. It's nothing like looking up in the stands and seeing your parents there, bro. Gives you that extra little bump. Like, yeah, man, let's get out here and get it. Let's get it in. Right. Let's get it in. So yeah, my bad on that tangent. But I just wanted to really drive home the fact that, life is increasingly unaffordable for the average American. Right. And that's part of life, man. That's part of life. And there's nothing like seeing your kids get happy. I know I showed up to one of the games my daughter did to rival. I think it's her freshman year. She didn't know I was there. And she was walking by with the band in formation. And screamed her name when she went walking by. She heard me. She didn't see me because she was focusing on what she was doing. She heard me. She just lit up. It's like, oh, my dad's here. Right? It's nothing like that. Nothing like that. And there's you want to be in a position where you can do that. And for the parents who can't be there, man, I'm sure it crushes you. And it crushes you. So yeah, I understand wanting to find someone who can help you do that thing financially. You feel me? So let's talk about red pill versus mainstream. Right? Here's what the conversation, for us red pillers might get a little bit interesting right here, right? Different communities explain this trend in different ways, right? So the red pill view on this, the red pill community would argue women have become more selective, status matters, income matters, success matters. Right? Men should still lead regardless of who earns more. This is the red pill take on this. Leadership isn't about money, it's about responsibility, purpose, and direction. Right? And I get it. I get it. You would think that, okay, women should be looking for a man who may not be making six figures or more, but man, his purpose and his drive is right there. He's responsible, right? He is a leader. That's how it should be, but that's not how it is. That's not how it is. Are there women out there who make a lot of money and their husband doesn't, or their significant other doesn't? Yeah, you can't call him partner if he's not making, more money than she is. I don't think he gets the term partner. He ain't made partner yet. He's just a junior executive trying to make his way up to partner. But, women look at things differently. The red pill will have you believe that every single woman is the same, and that's not true. The old school, the OG red pillars will say, hey, man, generally speaking, this is the case. Generally speaking, this is how it works. But does that mean that every single woman is extreme when it comes to hypergamy? No. Right. And even Rich Cooper was saying this in Top Shelf Man. He has a part in there that Steve, the accountant, wrote, which is pretty cool. But every woman isn't like this. There are some women out there who truly don't care. Like, they might really love the guy and be with him, but they're making more money. And the part where a lot of red pills will say, well, he should be responsible for her money because he's the leader of this relationship. He's the man. Therefore, she should be kicking the money up to him. That's, if you can get it, if you can get that, that's what's up. Right. If you can get that, if she's in your frame so much that she's going to give you access to her $300,000 a year, right? Access to her portfolio, access to everything she's built. If she's going to give you that, man, I guess that's cool. That's a lot of responsibility. That's a lot of responsibility, man. If you got that, great. But I don't think that should be the default simply because you're the man and, that you should have control over her funds. I don't see it that way. That could be foolish on her part because if she chooses the wrong dude, man, she's stuck. She's stuck. So I think as the man, your frame should be such that she's comfortable in your frame and she defers to you for tough decisions, including her financial decisions. Like, hey, I'm thinking about investing some money in this or that. And then she talks to you about it before she does it. And my thing is too, when it comes to leadership and relationships, you can be the leader and not have your fingers and your hands on the levers of control all the time. You can defer. Like, yeah, once you take care of that, love. If I'm dealing with a woman who's managed to put together a portfolio, a financial portfolio of, 7 figures or more, clearly she has a better grasp of that. I want to put her in charge of that. Matter of fact, you managing your money, you turned your money into this. Why don't you manage some of mine? Right? I'm gonna put money over there. Why don't you manage some of mine? Let's talk about how we should structure this relationship, right? And there's nothing wrong with delegating that, bro. You can still be in charge. She can still look to you, as the authority figure in the relationship. But that doesn't mean that you have to micromanage everything, right? Again, this is just real talk. You know what I mean? We got marriage causes divorce in the building. What's happening, fam? Good to see you. It's a good point. That's a good point. There, marriage is unacceptable in 2026. I hear where you're coming from, but there are a lot of people who want to be married still. So it has to be managed properly. And this is why we had these conversations, bro. It has to be managed properly. And marriage could give wrong leverage. A lot of people, there's dudes out here who are intent on getting married, and if you're gonna do it, that's fine. But you want to try to mitigate potential issues as much as you can. That with paperwork, you do that with. There we go back. You do that with cohabitation agreements. You do that with prenups, right? Again, we're talking about the top 5% of dudes. If you're in the bottom 95, you really ain't got that much to worry about, right? If you're at the bottom of the bottom 95, you got absolutely nothing to worry about, right? If you just a Pookie and Ray Ray out here slaying, go ahead and slay. You ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you have a little something, you plan on growing it, you want to protect it. And that's what we're here talking about. But like, she's not your girl. It's just your turn. There's a lot of that too. There's a lot of that, right? There's a lot of that, bro. The marriage part, like I'm not mad at anyone who's anti-marriage today. I'm not mad at them. I'm really not. I know people who've been in successful relationships. Not all of them have ever been married. I know people who've been in long-lasting 30-year plus relationships that are healthy and they never bothered to get married. They just didn't care. They just didn't care to, or the guy has some concerns, or the woman has some concerns. You know what I mean? They just didn't do it. So I'm not knocking anyone who's anti-marriage, but if you do it, you want to make sure that you do your best to mitigate the potential downside as much as you can, and understand and accept that it's probably going to fail, right? The marriage, not the relationship, the marriage. There's so many people, marriage fail, but then they stay together. They get divorced. They never get remarried. Some get remarried. It's just ridiculous. But you're right. You're right. Right. And prenups, yeah. Yeah. But this is the part of the red pill that I want guys to truly understand. Women too. If you got something to lose, bro, you're probably gonna lose it. If you get married without any documentations, you're gonna lose at least half of it. And that goes for women too. And this is why I believe women and some of the top tier men are looking for partnerships versus true love and traditional marriage. Right. So, like I said, like the red pill community, man, they got some good points. They got some really good points. Right. Leadership isn't about money. It is about purpose, directions, about responsibility. I think men should lead regardless of who earns more. I really do. There are situations where the women do lead, and if it works for that situation, so be it. But I've seen women in the situation where they were in command, right? They were the commanding officer. They're the CO, and the husband is the XO, and she's just not turned on by the guy, right? Because she's calling all the shots. She's the one taking all the risks. She's making all the decisions, right? It's her money that covers everything. And what does that woman do? She normally finds a dude on the side, just like an alpha man would do in traditional relationships, right? Ladies, when you want that alpha role, when you want to be on top, you're going to find yourself doing what a lot of alpha men do, right? And with women don't have that sexual drive like men. When women go and when they step out, they're looking for something else. They're looking for what their husband isn't providing. And a lot of those women who are in charge, they're the commanders of their situation. They're looking for someone that they can just kind of fall into his frame. And they know they can't marry him. The best they can do is, just be with him intimately, and they have these experiences. And that's what they go get. They're getting what they can't get from their husband. And I believe in that too. But so that's a red pill take on all that, right? Let's talk about the mainstream blue pill slant egalitarian view. right? A more egalitarian perspective argues women are no longer economically dependent on marriage. That is a fact, right? Both partners should contribute. Okay, that's what they're saying in the blue pill world, the feminist world. Leadership should be shared. Okay, how do you do that? Right? How do you do that? Leadership is shared. I've never been in a situation where two people were in command at the same time, right? You only have one president at a time in this country, right? It's always one president at a time, right? I've never been in a situation when command is shared, ever, ever. Someone's in command. Someone has more seniority. Whoever has the most seniority in the military, that's who's in command, right? Remember that time they had two popes? I believe it was only one pope in charge. The other pope went away. He put himself in exile. He retired. So it was only one pope. Even though there were two living popes, normally you got to wait till one pope dies and then you get another pope. Well, this time we had two popes at the same time. So the one just went away. So it's one CO, one commanding officer at a time. So how do you share leadership? Responsibility should be negotiated. Negotiate responsibilities, negotiated. I can kind of see that. I mean, you sit down and have a leadership conversation, you and your, you know, significant other, and you guys decide how you're going to do things. I guess you can call that a negotiation, you know, but someone has to make the final call, right? So there's still only one leader at a time. No predefined gender roles. No predefined gender roles. Okay, if she wants to go cut the grass and clean the gutters, I guess I'll, do the cooking and baking and do the laundry. But I understand where they come from. I understand that because both people tend to be working, so I get that. If I get home before, my woman, and I know like, oh man, she's been in the office later, she's working on a project, she's been really pushing it. I know she's tired and this and that. I'm gonna make her a meal. I'm gonna make her favorite meal, right? Or I'm gonna stop and get it and bring it home. I'm gonna present it real nice, candle lights and all that kind of stuff. Make sure the bath is really clean. So I'm gonna run a nice hot bath for her just to show her that I still love her. Like, babe, I know you out here working hard. So I got home first, just took care of everything for her. Like, oh, she was supposed to do the dishes this week. I knocked that out. I took care of the laundry. I folded up the clean stuff just because she's working hard. Why would I do something like that? Because I love her, right? I love her. And I want her to know that. I want her to feel it because women got to feel it, right? So you best believe when she comes walking through the door and her favorite meal is sat there on the table for her and it's candlelight and everything is clean and the dishes are done. She'll notice that. The clothes are folded up, right? She'll sit down and eat and whatever. She'll just be so happy drinking her favorite wine. And then, when you're done with that, go ahead and let her get what she really wants too. Her dessert is going to be this, right? Because that's what you should be doing. And she got that bath waiting for her. Oh my goodness. Right. So you shower after y'all smash and then hey baby, put in the bathtub, turn on the jet so she get the bubbly effect. And then she go to bed, man. She'll wake up a whole new woman. Why you do all that? Because you love her. Is that what you do every single night? No. You're not a simpleton. You ain't doing all that. You're doing it because of that situation. And she should be doing the same thing as a value add. Right. So, but when it comes to like no predefined gender roles, yeah, you help where you can, pitch in where you can. I understand that. Both parties remain independent individuals choosing to cooperate. Oh man, I don't know. If you decide to get married, aren't you giving up that independence? You're no longer an individual. You're part of the collective, right? Isn't that once you give into marriage, isn't that being assimilated? That's the board coming to get you. Resistance is futile, right? Like, resistance is futile at that point, right? So I don't know about that last line right here. Both parties remain independent individuals choosing to cooperate. Then why get married? Because y'all finances ain't independent at that point. Especially if you don't have a prenup and you haven't like kept your accounts separate. If y'all merged everything together, bro, your finances ain't independent, right? So how are y'all maintaining your independence if the finances aren't independent? But that's the blue pill side of it, man. Like more equal perspective. I mean, I get that. I get that. And Donald J. DeMarco's like, yeah, man, no marriage. No marriage. Yeah, I am not upset with anyone who is anti-marriage, especially the way we do it now. Not at all. But you got to think it through. Think it through. This is again like the content we do over here, like like Mandrill says all the time, be like, yo, DL, man, I like your take on the red pill. This space is for the thinking man red pill views. We gotta think this stuff through. Like most of the dudes out there in the red pill world, man, they're still red pill raging. They're still upset. They're mad, right? And again, Rich Cooper touches on this in his book, Top Shelf. Man, as soon as I finish that book, we're gonna do a review. By the way, I'll do a review on this channel, man. It's good, man. I tell you what, especially if you have the money, it's only I want to say it was like $16, maybe $20. I forget what I paid for it. So on Amazon, it's worth having in your library, right? And I'm talking about Top Shelf, man. That's Rich Cooper's latest book. It's worth having. I mean, I've read maybe a third of the book, a little more than a third of the book. It's good stuff, man. And it's not stuff that we're not familiar with, but it kind of drives home, these points that we need to have. And it's good for young guys. Like when I talk to these younger dudes, man, I'm like, yo, you know who Rich Cooper is? No, like check out his content. They're like, all right, cool. And I'm like, yo, you need to read his book. You need to read Unplugged Alpha, the first book, and they read that. We talk about it. And then by that time, they're like, yo, I got his other book. I saw it. I got them both. All right, cool. Have you read it yet? All right, let's talk about it. Right? You want to be a thinking man, like the thinking red pill man, I guess I should say. Is marriage? I think marriage, you might be right. Marriage causes divorce. You might be right. Marriage may be going extinct in the way that we know it. Like traditional marriage may be going the way of the horse and buggy, right? Whereas it's a new way of doing it. But just like the horse and buggy is still around, right? It's just not the primary mode of transportation, but it's still around. So I think you'll still have people doing the traditional marriage thing, and then they'll try to protect themselves the best they can with the paperwork. But China, Japan, and Europe, I have to look into that. I'm gonna have to look into that. Let me know if you see something, man, shoot me a link so I can check it out. I want to read what you're reading. Alpha Tyrone calls the shots. Beta Bryans have to negotiate. Yeah. Yeah. But here's the thing with the Alpha Tyrones, they do call it shots. And even though they take precautions, sometimes they still wind up on the hook, because you're gonna negotiate out the terms of the divorce. So they still wind up on the hook paying something, even if it's written into the prenup. I will pay you this much money for this many years. The top 5% of guys are getting tired of that. Right? They're getting tired of that. And it's not just the women now who are looking for, a partner. These top tier dudes might be looking for partners too. Again, they don't want to have to take care of someone. They're looking for someone to kind of to join them, and hey, man, we can just be, what's the best way to put it? We can just enjoy our life. You can join me in my life right now, but you're not going to be married to me, and you're not going to have complete access to me, and I'm not going to be taking care of you, if and when this thing goes sideways. Right? Says married women must submit. There's some people who believe that, and it depends on the woman. Depends on the woman. And I think a lot of women do believe this part, that they have to submit. And this is why they're like, you know what? I'm not going to submit to someone who's financially less than me. I'm not going to submit to that. Or just women out there who are fine enough, they're like, I'm not going to submit to a guy that's financially less than what I believe I should have. And that's what gets us here. That's what gets us here. Hey, y'all know I'm a Trekkie, bro. Y'all know I'm an undercover nerd, man. I'm a big fan of the Berg. Matter of fact, real quick, guys, if y'all listening to me, man, since we on the Trekkie thing, name your favorite Star Trek character. It doesn't matter. Any other franchises, man, going all the way back to the original or Generations. Voyager, Deep Space Nine. What's your favorite character? I'm going to tell y'all mine right now, and I had to think about this. Q. Q is my absolute favorite character in that whole IP. Especially, I forgot how many the character Q made an appearance in he was in Generations, first episode. He was in Deep Space Nine. Q was in Voyager, played pivotal roles in Voyager. So what's y'all favorite, man? What's y'all favorite? Brother Pablo's in the building. What's happening, fam? Yeah, marriage could be if you want to start and raise a family, but there's a lot of people who get married well after they've had their families, right? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, marriage is about um, bro. How you know they're virgins? That's the thing. Marriage causes divorce. How do you know? How do you know they're virgins, bro? But again, at my age, would I consider getting married? Not something I really want to do. And why don't I want to do it? Because I'm worried about my daughter's financial future. I don't want to lose anything that I have, you know, earned and created for her. So, but if I can figure out a way to protect her financial future, would I get married? Yeah. And what's my fix on that? I'm gonna marry a woman who's wealthy. That's the only way I would do it. She would have to be worth at least 3 times my net worth, at least, preferably more. Right. So you look at someone like Travis Kelsey, like, bro, no brainer. You know what I mean? You got your girlfriend, man, Taylor Swift, billionaire. Yeah, no problem. We can get married. We can get married. Lewis Hamilton, Sir Lewis Hamilton. Dude got bread. That man's got a ton of money. Right. So who is he messing with? Kim Kardashian. People clowning him for it, but it makes sense. I wouldn't do it if I were him, but it makes sense. It's like, bro, what is he going to lose? Nothing. I mean, I haven't checked out their net worth, but Kim Kardashian might be worth more than Lewis Hamilton. I'm sorry, Sir Lewis Hamilton. Y'all know he's a knight, a real life black knight. But it is what it is. Donald J. DeMarco, Data. Say Data was the man. Odo was interesting. He was like the shape shifting and all that. I really didn't get into Deep Space Nine that much. I think of all the series, that was my least favorite. And then Enterprise came out. So you know what? Either Enterprise and Deep Space Nine competes for like the last slot for me. Hey man, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a nerdy show, man. We're gonna nerd out, bro. We're gonna do a nerdy show. We're gonna talk about Star Trek. We're gonna talk about it, man. Worf, Michael Dorn. Michael Dorn's a pilot in real life. So when Michael Dorn was doing Generations, he used to fly out of Van Nuys. That dude owned a Sabre jet and a Sabre liner. Sabre liner corporate jet. You know what I mean? Just a regular, private jet. A Sabre jet is a Korean War era fighter jet. He owned a Sabre jet. He used to fly that thing every weekend, bro. So that Star Trek money must have been good. It must have been good. And Deep Space Nine didn't get good until they brought in the Dominion towards the end. But well, we know what, bro. We're gonna have a show. It might just be me and you, Donald J. DeMarco. We might be the only one on that, only 2 people on that show talking about Trek. But we're gonna do that show, man. I haven't done one in Vegas yet. There's I believe Star Trek has a cruise. They have a cruise where everything on the ship is all Federation, Star Trek, Klingon, whatever. People are in character. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we do the Star Trek episode. But let's get back to this, right? So let's talk about which explanation really fits. Because we went over the blue pill view, we went over the red pill view. Let's talk about which one really fits, right? Maybe both sides are describing the same phenomenon, they're just describing it a different way, right? From different angles. The red pill says hypergamy. The mainstream says equality. Economists might say housing costs, student loans, delayed adulthood, higher expectations, right? Maybe economics changed the marketplace and everyone has simply adapted. And that's real talk right now. Because you think about it, man, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, most of the 70s, money wasn't really a thing. The average American could still afford to have his own place. They can afford a home on one income. You can have a wife. Society was all about being married. It was different. But then the economics have changed, right? You look at the late 70s and all through the 80s, when the 1% in Reaganomics began to decouple from that reality that we had back then, and the rich started getting wealthy. And then the wealthy became super rich, right? So you got this widening gap between the have and the have nots. You know, get the have yachts and the have nots. So we might be just dealing with that because people are just looking at it through a different lens. Like hypergamy is definitely a thing. And then women want equality, but do they really? You know what I'm saying? They really just want, they don't want to have to be the breadwinners. A lot of women complaining about that, right? And then the economists just talk about, you know, again, who has $400,000 laying around? They can put down 20% to get that 30-year loan. Right? Who has that kind of money, bro? Right? That's $80,000, right? Am I wrong? You check my math out there for me, guys. On a $400,000 loan, maybe you need to put down 20%. Who has 80 grand sitting around? Most Americans don't. Most Americans, the vast majority of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Americans still can't afford an unexpected expense of $500 or more. They can't. So that wasn't the case back in the day. Like you could afford to have a house, right? Your wife, your kids, got your car, sometimes 2 cars. You can still take a trip to the amusement parks. You still have money. You know, here's a nickel, kid. give your kid a nickel, and that nickel lasts them all week. Penny candy really, you know, you really got something for a penny back then. We don't even have pennies anymore. So I think that's part of it, man. I think that's a real big part of it. But the bigger question is, we've replaced husband with partner. We've replaced wife with partner. But here's my question. If marriage is now a partnership, who leads? Who leads? We know what the red pill guys are thinking, right? We know what the red pill guys are thinking, right? Who leads? And just, I'm here to tell you, man, there are women out there who want to be in charge. They want to lead. I've come across quite a few, but those women, they suffer in their relationships like everyone else. I was, you know, like, I'm not saying it's easy for one side and, you know, it's harder for the other. But I found that women who are like these alpha types, they really believe that men want a strong, assertive, aggressive woman, right? And then they want, like, the guys that they really want, the dudes at the top, they're not dealing with it. They're not dealing with it. I've had women talk to me like, yo, for real, how come you never really tried to holler at me and da da da? You talk to that girl and that girl and that girl, but you never talk to me. I'm like, hey, baby, you too much. Like, I'm the man. Like, why would I want to fight you? But I mean, I would change for you. I wouldn't fight you. I'm like, bullshit. You ain't changed for Jimmy over there. You ain't changed for Tom over there. Oh, they different. They weak. They're weak, huh? Like, nah, you ain't gonna change. That's who you are. That's who you are, sis. I don't want that. I don't want to deal with that. I'm not coming home to deal with a sassy attitude. And it was funny because we're having this conversation, and a server walked up and she just kind of snapped at him. And then he walked away, right? Whatever. And I'm like, that's why I won't mess with you. Right? That's why I won't mess with you. The man just doing his job. Why you snapping at him? Like, you got work to do, sis. Right? So those alpha women have trouble, man. They have trouble. So who leads? Right? Can 2 CEOs run one company? We touched on this earlier. Can you have 2 commanding officers at one time? The answer is no. You cannot. You cannot have 2 commanding officers at one time. It does not work. You cannot have 2 CEOs, co-CEOs. That company's going out of business. That the board of directors is going to have to pick a CEO. You can't have 2 commanding officers. You just can't. And look, and Mandrell says it again, like I said, I don't know how people are making it these days. Someone has to be in command. Right? Someone has to be in command. Can 2 CEOs run one company? Every successful company has disagreements. Eventually, someone has to make the final decision. The CEO, the chief executive officer, right? Or the CEO, the commanding officer, right? Someone has to make a decision. The owner, the board, somebody has authority. Now think about today's relationships. Both people earn millions. Like we were talking about Kelsey and Swift, or Hamilton and Kardashian. They papered up. They're 1%ers. Right? Everybody involved is a 1%er. They both earn millions. They both run companies. They both have influence. They both have enormous success. When they disagree, who breaks the tie? Or does everything become a negotiation? How tiring would that be? How tiring would that be, bro? Everybody has to negotiate every sticking point. We get to like, okay, we got to. So how does that work? You got two CEOs, right? And then it's just like, okay, we're at an impasse now. We got to go to mitigation. How does that work? There needs to be one CEO, one commander. Shout out to Shaw, man. Shout out to you, bro. Good to see you, man. This is Shaw. Don DeMarco to you, man. Thank you, man, for the $5 super chat, man. I appreciate that. Right? And make sure you guys go check out Shaw. Hey, Shaw, when's your next show, man? My schedule's been kind of jacked up, man. I've been catching you on Team Replay, but I want to catch you live. When's your next show, man? I definitely want to be there. I want to say everyone who's in here now, I see over in Shaw's chat as well. You know what I mean? So good to see you, brother. So glad you came by. You cannot have, there it is right there, guys. Make sure y'all check out This Is Shaw, Saturday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right? So, do the math, guys. If you're out here on the East Coast like me, it'll be late. That's why I always catch him late. Yeah, Saturday, I think Saturday I'm clear. Friday, I know I'm doing a little bit of networking. I'm actually going to this little salsa thing on Friday. Saturday, I believe I'm clear. So I'll be there, brother. I'll be there, man. And I'm trying, hey guys, just so you know, man, I'm definitely trying to work it out. I want to get Shaw over here again. Because I'm so fascinated with the dowry and that gold pill. So I definitely want to talk about that some more. But yeah, man. And Shaw does good work, guys. Make sure you guys get over there and check out This Is Shaw, man. This Saturday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll see y'all there for sure. Let's get back to our show. And I remember the first time I saw Shaw, bro. I'm like, that dude right there, that's gonna be one of the guys. I'm telling you. And I was right. I was like, that's one of the dudes. It's one of the dudes. I'm telling you, hey guys, just so y'all know, it is just a matter of time before we see Shaw on some mainstream platform somewhere, maybe on Fox or maybe on CNN or maybe, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, Breaking Points. Breaking Points is one of my favorite news outlets, independent news. We're going to see Shaw, man. We're going to see Shaw. And Shaw, is your Rich Cooper, did that video come out? Did I miss it? I know you and Cooper did a show. Did I miss it? If it's out, let me know, man. I'm gonna definitely make sure I check that out. But Shaw's doing great work. But let's get back to this, man. Look, we touched on our celebrity examples already. And we're about to get into it. But when both people are 1%ers and they're co-CEOs in their relationship, right? They're sharing the leadership role. How do you make a decision when there is a disagreement? Like, does it have to be an impasse? Do you have to go and bring in, like, okay, let's go to mediation, right? So let's get back to our celebrity examples, right? Think about today's power couples. I already mentioned this. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, Kim Kardashian, Sir Lewis Hamilton. And y'all like, man, why you keep calling him Sir? Like I said, he's a knight. He's a real black knight. Plus, I'm a big fan. I'm new. I like F1 and like, Lewis Hamilton is like the GOAT and he's still racing. They say he's going to retire soon, but he's still racing right now. So I think he's going to try to win one more championship. And when he does, then he's going to retire. But anyway, getting back to it. So Sir Lewis and Kim Kardashian, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, all millionaires, all successful, right? So when you look at it, these aren't relationships built around financial dependence. Ain't none of them worried about the other one. They all got bread. They're relationships between two enormously successful people. They don't need each other's money. So what binds them together? Is it love, shared values, lifestyle, mutual respect, right? Business alignment? Maybe a little bit of all that. They're not joining lives. They're joining ecosystems. Right? Think about that. They're not joining lives, they're joining ecosystems. Maybe they're too wealthy to worry about love. I'm pretty sure it comes into play. And I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I would, when you look at someone like Kim Kardashian, and it was like, man, man, she's a billionaire. You will mess with her, right? My cousin was talking about this because I brought it up. I was like, well, look at Lewis Hamilton and Kim Kardashian, and because we were talking about when the woman has the leverage, the financial leverage. It's like that there are some dudes who are cool with it, but when the women have the financial leverage, well, what? Wait, no, no, it was the other way around. I was like, we're talking about the top tier guys, the true high value men, the one percenters. Like they always have the leverage. That's what I was saying. I was telling her they always have the leverage. They're gonna make a decision. What I mean, you got to get with their frame no matter what. And she brought up the fact, like, well, there are billionaire women out there, right? She brought up Kim Kardashian. She was like, and Lewis Hamilton. That's how it went down in the conversation. I'm like, well, you got a good point. And I was like, but first of all, I'm not even sure which one is worth more, but let's just say that Kim Kardashian financially is above Lewis Hamilton, right? And if they might be equally yoked financially, but in the public eye, she's more famous. Everyone knows who Kim Kardashian is. Everyone knows about that booty. Everyone knows she had the booty before the BBL. Everyone knows about her. Most people don't know about Lewis Hamilton. Like you really have to be into either fashion or F1 to know who he is, right? So let's say she's the top dog. All right. And so my cousin was saying, so she has the leverage. And I'm like, possibly, but she's dealing with a top 0.1% guy, 0.001% guy. So I would argue he still has the leverage. Historically, they're going to want younger women. But then my cousin, she countered with, well, yeah, but they're done with that. They're sick of taking care of women when the relationship goes sideways, having to go to court, having to pay for this, having to pay for that, blah, blah, blah. Now, these guys are like, you know what? I know that this Kim K woman, she's got baggage. She did the sex tape. That's how she became famous. She parlayed that into $1 billion industry, right? She's a baby mama, like her baby daddy out of his mind, Kanye West. There's a lot of problems over there, but financially, she's more worried about losing financially than I am. So maybe I can have a shot at a regular relationship with this woman. And that's where our conversation ended because she had to go. She had to make she got an important phone call she had to make, or no, someone called her she had to talk to, and I had to do a show. So we never got a chance to finish our conversation. maybe I can get her to commit to a time where we can finish the conversation on this platform. You guys can actually hear it. But that got me thinking. I'm like, okay, so Kim K is the alpha in this situation. But then I sat back and I'm like, well, how can she be the alpha? In a situation where you have a female billionaire and a male billionaire, who's the alpha? And I would argue that the alpha is still the man in that situation because now the money, the money becomes moot. It doesn't matter. Right? Like, okay, you got billions, I got billions. Let's take the money off the table. Now we're back to the regular dating situation. Who's more sought after, Kim Kardashian or Lewis Hamilton? And I would argue it's Lewis Hamilton. Who can get more women, or more suitors? Like what dudes are going to want to deal with Kim K? Right? You could be a broke guy that's like, yeah, I'll go over there, I'll smash Kim K. But even someone like me, like I saw her when she was still young, when she was messing with Reggie Bush. I was at the Seminole Hard Rock in Fort Lauderdale, and I saw her. And bro, when I tell you, she caught my eye. I didn't know who she was. I just saw her walking through the crowd. She caught my eye, bro. And for a moment, I'm like, wow. I'm like, yo, she was, man, Kim K in her prime. Wow. And then at the same moment I'm seeing her, I look up and I see little kids, man, mind you, it's like 2, 3 in the morning. And I see little kids, little girls with their parent, their mom, right there trying to get her autograph. And she stopped for the little girls. And I'm looking, and then I look, and then I can see, oh, that's Reggie Bush. I'm like, oh, that's Kim Kardashian. This was before the billions. And it was like two things popped in my head. First of all, I'm like, why would a mom bring their little girl to get Kim Kardashian's autograph at a hotel? Like, bro, she's famous for doing adult content. She's famous for getting smashed, you know what I mean, on camera. How is this lady going to allow her daughter to idolize this adult film star, right? Even though she only did the one film. That's the first thing. And the second thing is like, man, y'all bring her out to a hotel. You bring these little kids out to a hotel at 1, 2 in the morning. What's wrong with these people? But anyway, right. Kim Kardashian is not going to be able to get the guys that she really wants if, right, historically speaking, if hypergamy plays out the way we think it's going to play out, right? And she's definitely aging out, fam. I mean, if you look at hypergamy in the way it's supposed to work, someone like Kim Kardashian, even with all her money and success, the guys don't care about that, right? But then, you know, like I said, my cousin brought this up, and I was like, you know, that's an outlier. Why is it that Sir Lewis Hamilton is rocking with Kim Kardashian? Don't know. But at the end of the day, like I was explaining to my cousin, he's still the one who gets to choose. Because not only does Kim Kardashian want him, but the vast majority of women who are out there want him. So when you like same thing with Taylor Swift, right? And most dudes don't really care about her money and her fame and her success. It doesn't mean nothing. Travis Kelce is probably really in love with her. He gets to choose. He's like, all right, cool. And then I think it's just an added bonus that she's a billionaire. Bro, I ain't worried about this going sideways. If it goes sideways, I'm cool. Worst case scenario, I'm taking some of them billions with me. I wonder if there's a prenup, right? I wonder if there's a prenup. Yeah, absolutely. Shaw does know the child support system, but he worked for the child support system in California. Shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? Another Don DeMarco to you, brother. Don DeMarco. But let me know when that when your video comes out with Rich Cooper, man. Let me know. You know what I mean? I hope it comes out soon. I appreciate you too, bro. But equal value doesn't mean identical roles, right? Equal value does not mean identical roles. Because you look at Travis Kelce and you look at Sir Lewis Hamilton, I bet you Kim K and Taylor Swift both look at those men as leaders. If the world were to collapse tomorrow, I don't think they're worried about people getting at them. These men are leaders. They're both in shape. They can handle themselves. You know what I mean? Like it's just they're thinking like, well, you know, he can open the mayonnaise jar. He can open the pickle jar. You know what I mean? Just the basic stuff that never really goes away, right? They're manly men. You know, you're an F1 driver, bro. You know how dangerous F1 is. The other one's a football player, been playing football his whole life. You know, like, you know how dangerous that is. And they look at me, you know, at the end of the day, I think those women look at these men as men. And if you were to ask me, okay, well, who really runs the relationship? I would guess that those two women, even though they're billionaires, are within the frame of those two men. And I think that's the case in all things, and I think it stops at the money. I would believe it stops at the money. I could be wrong. I mean, you know, it's just there are too many people involved when you become a billionaire to just let someone come in and just start changing things, right? Because they are Kim K and Taylor Swift. They are their own, you know, ecosystems. I mean, how many people are living off of them? Like, how many people do they employ when you know what I mean, when you run it down? They're too big to just have them come in like, I'm going to give all my money to my husband. Like, that's not going to happen. It's lawyers going to be fighting that, man. There's people going to be fighting that. Like, nah, you can't do that. You can't, not the big, it's too much money riding on this. So I think everything up to the money, she'll say, yeah, you know, defer to my husband. And then maybe when they're like having pillow talk or like if she has a big financial decision coming up, I'm sure she'll run it by him. Both of them are running by. I'm like, what do you think? I'm thinking about doing this. And it's like, oh, okay. And then, if I'm that guy, if I'm dealing with a billionaire, she's like, I'm thinking about doing something. The first thing I'm gonna ask her is like, well, you know, what do the consultants say? Let me get a breakdown. Like, what are you doing? Let me, you know what I mean? Let me see the numbers. I'm just gonna be one of many voices advising this person on how to move forward. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I don't expect them to do what I say. They got here without me. Right. And I know people who got bread like that. And I'll tell them, like, hey, here's my thought. This is what I'm thinking. However, I would go with whatever you've been doing because you've gotten this far. Right. So you've been making the correct decisions. I would stick with your instincts on this. That's pretty much what I do when I'm dealing with people who are like really, really successful. Like, I will stick with your instincts on this. You've done fairly well. Who do you normally run this by? Right? That sort of thing. But equal value doesn't mean identical roles. So maybe we're confused. Equal value with identical responsibilities, they aren't the same thing. A company values its CEO and CFO. So a company values its chief executive officer and its chief financial officer, right? That doesn't mean that they make every decision together. A football team values every starter, right? But someone still has to call the plays. And that person is normally upstairs. They're not even on the field. Person calling the plays, right? Maybe healthy relationships don't require one person to be more important. Maybe they simply require clarity. Who handles parenting? Who makes the final call when there's no agreement? Right? That's what it boils down to. Sir Lewis Hamilton, to my knowledge, doesn't have any kids, but Kim Kardashian does. Who handles parenting? If I'm in that situation, that's on you. Now we get into that whole stepfather thing. It's not to say that they're married, they have a serious relationship. I personally don't think it's going to last that long. I don't think it's going to go the distance. But they're just having fun right now. Like he's into her for whatever reason. She's into him. They're having fun right now. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got married. So that's like a whole nother thing. And they don't have any kids to my knowledge. So when they do have kids, who's going to handle all that? They probably got au pairs and all that kind of stuff. Au pairs are like, nannies on steroids, like real expensive nannies, right? They're going to have all kind of staff to help out with that. But, at the end of the day, these are things they're going to work out. But I thought that was a good analogy, especially with the football thing. Like you respect all your starters, but somebody got to call the plays, man. And that person's not even on the field, not even in uniform. They're not even suited up. So what is the modern relationship? Has modern marriage become a financial partnership, a business merger, a lifestyle alliance, a risk management strategy, or all of the above? Again, we're talking about the top now. We're talking about the top. There are a lot of people like, well, what about, I'm married to my girl. Me and my girl work at McDonald's, and I'm on burgers and she's on fries. Like, we ain't talking about y'all. We ain't talking about y'all. Y'all need to be together. Y'all need to continue to work, and then hopefully y'all can figure something out. Someone goes to school, y'all become management, and then hopefully get to a point where you can own a McDonald's. But you know what I mean? But we ain't talking about y'all. That's a different conversation for a different day. Right? The modern relationship. Is it a love story? Is it a financial partnership? Is it a business merger? Is it a lifestyle alliance? A risk management strategy? Or is it all of the above? I think it's all of those above, man. I think it's all of those above, especially in this current climate. Now, as a man, as a dude, you really should be becoming the best version of yourself, making money, staying in shape, right? Learning to think, reading, becoming as knowledgeable as you can, and start making some good moves with your paper. Now, while you're doing that, you should also be working on your game and staying social, networking and stuff like that. So I don't see anything wrong with going out here hollering at women, just talking crazy. You know what I mean? You see a cutie or whatever, no problem. Holla, 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 holla. I don't see a problem with that. But once you decide to get into a relationship, that relationship is going to take time. It's going to take resources, right? You're going to have to give it your all, and you're not going to be able to maintain a relationship and also maintain making yourself the best version of yourself and going out here networking and building wealth and all that. You're not going to be able to do both well. You're going to have to make a choice. So I would say, get to know some women, get into some relationships, like, have yourself a little, a little something. Have yourself, you don't even gotta have a rotation. Like I got one girl that I kind of deal with, and you know, you can do it. Make sure you read the book of Numbers, because you're like, oh man, it ain't that bad. Like dudes are telling me, like, yeah, man, I got this girl, we've been messing around for the past 6 months, blah, blah, blah. But this is after they done told me everything they're doing. It's like, yeah, man, I'm into crypto, and I'm taking I'm out here getting ready to take my certifications for real estate and mortgage brokering and all this kind of stuff. And so like, oh, you're doing that? Like, I'm doing that, and I'm also at in City College. I'm trying to get a degree in whatever. Like, damn, you're doing a whole lot, bro. Like, yeah, and I got my own business. I'm growing. I'm doing pretty good. I'm making a little bit of money. I'm doing all these other things, right? I'm just throwing stuff out there, but you get the point I'm making. You got a guy who's out here really working hard on himself. He's doing it. He's doing the damn thing, bro. And he's like, yeah, man, I cut my expenses back. I'm back living with my parents, or me and my brother live together. I was able to, I'm able to save an additional $1,500 a month just by moving in with my brother, or just by going back living with moms and them. Like I get my mom's $500 just for food and whatnot, and I take care of the house and everything. So that's like saving me $1,500 just on rent alone. My car's paid off, got my credit back into the 800s. I'm doing all these good things. Like, so I got this girl, and I'm talking to this girl. We've been talking, we've been doing our thing for 6 months. And I'm like, well, how much money are you investing in this relationship? Oh man, not much, not much. I'm like, word? Again, this is a guy who never read the book of Numbers. I'm like, so when's the last time y'all went out? Oh, we were out just a couple days ago. What'd you guys do? Right? Like, what did y'all do? Well, we went to the movies. Then we stopped at the bar, had a couple drinks. Right? Then we had dinner at that bar because, we was like, well, might as well, we're here, might as well have dinner. So we had dinner, and then we went home or whatever, Netflix, whatever. I say, all right, man, did you have Netflix before you met her? Nah, I didn't have Netflix. I didn't have Amazon Prime. I had none of that, bro. I was too busy hustling. Like, okay, so you got Netflix now. All right. That's like what, $15 a month. All right, cool. And it's like, what does your girl drink? Oh man, she loves wine, man. So like, okay, so you got any wine at home? It's like, oh yeah, I got it. And he started naming these wines. I'm like, okay, so you spending money on wine now. How many bottles y'all go through in a week? Oh, you're like, oh man, sometimes 2 or 3. Okay. Right. And then I slowly just started pointing things out. And I'm like, bro, everything I mentioned, just doing the rough numbers, man, rough math. How much is that a month? Right. And he landed on a number. He was like, it's everything he had told me we had discussed, plus a few other things. I saw him actually start delving into the numbers, right? Again, shout out to Aaron Clary, Book of Numbers. And he was like, damn, bro, I'm spending about $600 a month. And I've been spending $600 a month for 6 months with her. Not her fault, mind you. This is what he chose to do. I'm like, yeah, $600 a month. You were just bragging about how you was able to save $1,500 a month by moving in with mom. Right. And I'm pretty sure the stuff he didn't tell me was he's probably paying the cable bill at his girl's house, or he's probably giving her some money every now and then to kind of help her out because she's got her own place. Right. She's doing well. But I mean, come on. Like, if she wants to go out, he's probably saying, I can't go out because I got to pay this bill. I got to pay that bill. It's like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of the bill. Come on out with me. And he's like, damn, you're right. I am spending money. Like, yeah, spending money. Right. You're spending money. Right. So if you're trying to be the best, but he was happy. Like, he had his love story. Right. But he started to realize, like, man, this is more of a financial partnership. Right. It's a merger in which he's paying. And so what is he getting out of this merger? He gets to spend time with her. Of course, he gets to smash. Show me a picture. She's absolutely stunning. Right. Fit, friendly, feminine. I didn't get a chance to meet her in person, but I could just, I'm like, he's going through her Instagram. I'm like, oh man, she looks pretty cool. Right. Her Instagram was private. Right. And I'm like, oh, her Instagram is private. He's like, yeah, bro. Yeah. Cause this is a guy who wasn't 100% red pill, but he's red pill adjacent. So he kind of knew. Right. He kind of knew. And I'm like, bro, You're in a business, you're in a merger. You're in a merger, man, and she's getting the better end of this deal, in my opinion, but I'm not him. Maybe it's enough for him just to be seen with this beautiful woman, to be able to be intimate with this beautiful woman. He's like, yeah, man, she does cook. Like, I mean, did mom teach you how to cook? Like, no, she, watches videos, I mean, she'll get a recipe and just kind of work on it, but she's getting good, man. I'm like, that's great. That's great. So what does Uncle Saint think about his situation? Hey, man, you got a decision to make. Are you going to continue with this merger because you've stopped making money, you've come away from your purpose, and now you're investing in this situation over here? Is it worth it? If the answer is yes, then continue your investment. Continue with this business merger, right? With this financial partnership, with this lifestyle alliance. You might as well move in, right? Which, again, if you're going to do that, you got to do the paperwork, man. Get a cohabitation agreement, right? Because guys are like, oh, I might as well move in. But understand, when you do that, you are shifting resources elsewhere. You're no longer just being the best version of you. You are shifting resources. Your love story has become a financial partnership, a business merger, a lifestyle alliance, right? A risk management strategy. You guys are merging together. Okay, where's this going to go? How far is this going to go? Does this include legal marriage? Right. And I guess the real question he has to ask himself is like, man, is she going to be my wife or is she going to be my partner? Is she going to be my CFO or my COO? I'm going to maintain the CEO, or is she going to be the CEO? Is she going to be calling the shots? These are decisions we got to make, right? These are the decisions we got to make, bro. Say, LaForge, you still on the track, man? LaForge was cool. LaForge was never one of my top ones. I was, Jean-Luc Picard, definitely. Jordy, I could see that. LaForge, I don't know. I don't know about LaForge. But we're gonna have that Trek show, bro. I'm gonna have to put it on the schedule, man. I don't know when, but we're gonna have it. I want to do that. I want to do that Trek show. But you see what I mean about modern relationships, man? The young guy I was just telling you about, had it been 1960 or 1970, been no brainer, bro. He will be with that woman 6 months. He'd probably be ready to propose to her, right? The families will be involved. They wouldn't have been going out as much, but it'll have been like backyard barbecues and stuff like that, going bowling together, playing softball with the families. Right now, she's involved in his family. He's involved in her family. He asked dad for permission to marry. Dad says yes. He buys a ring. You know what I'm saying? Boom. They do the thing. They get married. And then they buy a house within the first 5 years of the marriage. That's how it used to be. No brainer. Didn't matter how much she was making. Didn't matter about all that other stuff. But now all that matters. You got to take all that into consideration. And you have to have a woman who's willing to struggle with you. And as so many women, a lot of people say, man, women ain't struggling with nobody. I get it. Like Rich Cooper says it all the time. Women don't build anymore, man. They wait at the finish line and they bang the winners. Right. I understand that. I agree with that to an extent. But I would caveat that with the fact that women are already struggling. Everyone's struggling right now. Everyone's struggling. Everyone's feeling the pressure. Everyone's feeling the heat. Right. And you got, a lot of women like, man, I'm tired of this. I want someone who's going to save me. Basically, I want to get someone who's going to help me out. They're looking for that merger. I want to hitch my wagon to that guy who's doing big things already. Right. And this is why the guys who have money, those are the guys who have a lot of women trying to get at them. Right? If you got a Lamborghini and a penthouse and you have access to a boat and a private jet, bro, tons of women around you. If you can go to Vegas somewhere and go into a nightclub and drop 20 grand for a table, like there's gonna be tons of women in there trying to holler at you. Are those quality women? I would argue no. Like what they're looking for, and they know what you're looking for. They will gladly exchange that time to smash you, right? They would gladly exchange that time to smash you in exchange to sit at that table or have a seat in that Lamborghini or get on that boat or get on that private jet. Yo, is somebody messing with me, or do we have the man, the myth, the legend in the building right now? Oh, thank you for the $2 super chat, fam. I hope that is Aaron Clary. I hope it is. Salute to you, brother. Um, I got really enjoy your work, man. I really do. I'm one of the ninja watchers on your platform, bro. Whenever I catch you, I just have it on in the background. I'll be listening, man. I think that the red pill space, man, is gone. It's gone from dudes just raging out and having problems with women and being mad. So I think is moving towards the space that we're in right here on this platform and other platforms. So it's like, okay, how do we really move? Like, can you just tell me what's really going on so I can come up with a plan so I can move forward? Do I really want to get married? If I want to get married, how do I do it? Right. Again, Aaron Clary's book, man, it's right behind me. Just in case y'all think I'm bullshitting. My library was growing. Right. I don't fuck around. This book right here, you see, I'm always reading it. And I got a bookmark in it now. I'm always reading that book, man. If you guys don't have it, make sure you get it. It's on Amazon. Go get it. Again, I don't remember what I paid for it. Not that I'm some baller, I'm out of control, but I promise you it doesn't. This book right here is less than whatever your tab was at the bar last week. I promise you that. It's less than your tab. And it's definitely worth the investment. Again, I hope that's Aaron Clary. I really do. Shout out to you if it is, brother. Shout out to you if it is. But we got choices to make, gentlemen. You young guys, listen to us old dudes, bro. I told you at the top of the show, right? I'm on pace right now to pay well over $500,000 over 18 years. I got another 10 years or so. I am on my way, bro. When this is all said and done, it'll be well over $500,000. Right? $500,000. What could you do with $500,000? So when I look at the book of numbers, I have to add that to my number. Every dude has a number. Think about it. This would be a nice little thought experiment for you guys out there. Think about the book of numbers. Think about how much money you've invested in pursuing women from age 18 to let's say age 50. How much money have you invested? How much does that cost you? So right off rip, I got to put $500,000 on my number. Right off rip. Right, it's 500 plus whatever I spent getting up to that point. So I'm well into the millions. I'm well into 7 figures. Easy, bro. And if I were to be real conservative, I mean, I would have to say 800,000. Right. But I really think it's probably 1.8, maybe $2 million. I think it is, because you have to just think about all of the trips. Like, once I started making money, I was able to do really nice things. I can jump on a plane and go to France or go to Japan or, go to Aruba, chasing women down there. Just think about every time you spent some money on a woman. Think about it. You like some girl you're cool with, and like, oh, you take her out, just dinner and drinks, or you take her to the arcade, right? Or you take her to the movies. And if you're out there running a rotation like I was when I was younger, I was broke, but I was still spending money, right? Easily $100 a date. Easily. Not for the women that I met up front, because the ones I met up front, I took them on cheap dates. I took them to get ice cream, right? Or, get like a smoothie or whatever, like a malt, something like that, a shake, have a walk in the park. But eventually, they graduate to the next level. And I wound up paying a little bit more, right? So easily for like a real date, $100. $100. And I was doing that 2-3 times a week, $300 a week. Do the math. Right? $300 a week. Right? $2,400 a month. So yeah, man, I'm up there, bro. I'm definitely up there, bro. So you got choices to make. Just like boss babes have their cars, sisterhood and SSRIs. Man, they do, man. They man. There's definitely something there. There are some women who are good at being in command and they don't mind it, but there are a lot of women who don't like it and they do it. and they just don't like it. But yeah, if you're a guy, if you got yourself together, women will come for you, bro. If you got money, the last thing you got to worry about is having women. But you know, the problem becomes finding quality women like Fresh, man. You know, Fresh is real good people, man. I respect Fresh. I always will, right? But he's out there dealing with these women. I'm pretty sure he realizes he's like, man, these chicks, especially after that Daisy thing, he's like, man, these hoes ain't loyal. They just want to ride around in a Lamborghini or the Rolls Royce, or they want to ride around the Ferrari. They just want to get on the boat, and they're willing to smash for it. And he has to realize that. He's like, if they banging me for an opportunity to get on the boat, that means they banging everybody on this boat. They don't care, and he's right. It's just like fake Aaron. Appreciate that marriage. I just, it is what it is. I've had that before. People make it, quick, whatever. But I appreciate the $2 from fake Aaron. um, but yeah, bro, 500K in the S&P 500. Man, it's so much money. And it's one of those things. Some of these women, a lot of people are terrible at investment, bro. People in general are just terrible at investments, man, because they don't really think about it. We're not raised to do it. But I think we're in a transition. We're definitely in a transition. But the point I was making about having the money, having the status, the lifestyle, you got access to these women. Like, yeah, you can drop 20 grand on the table or whatever, or you can, jump on the PJ, jump on a private jet and go from Miami to New York or whatever. You're always going to have beautiful women. But what are those women trying to do? How do those women see you? Man, they see you as a merger, right? They see you as a merger. And if they can get you to legally tie yourself to them, they know they're going to be good no matter what. They're going to be good. They just like they're going to get bread. They're going to be getting money while they're in the situation, and then they're going to get money when the situation is over. Right? And there are a lot of women out here like Kelly Clarkson. She learned, she got divorced from her dude. Her dude had bread, but she had more. And guess what? He walked away with half her stuff. He walked away with the house. He got the kids. And she was just sitting there. Couldn't believe it happened to her. Like, that's what happens when you're the alpha. It happens to ladies too. So there was a merger. And when that merger was separated, she had to pay. So she's probably out there looking for dudes definitely that got more money than her, because she don't want to go through that again. But it's going to be hard for her to find a dude, period, man. She put on some weight, whatever. She's, her hypergamous nature is going to have her out here looking for certain dudes that ain't really trying to holler at her. They might bang her on a slow Tuesday, but ain't trying to be with her. So she's going to have all kinds of problems. Unlike a guy, you could be a nobody on Monday, and then all of a sudden, whatever you've been working on hits on Friday, and you go from no money to millions, bro. It's going to be tons of women trying to holler at you. Tons of women trying to holler at you. That was on you to figure out who you're going to deal with, because they all looking for mergers. They ain't trying to be in love with you, bro. That is what it is, what it is. So that's it, man. We're almost on 2 hours. Let me wrap this up. So got a question for you guys. What's more important when we're talking about this, man? Is love more important? Financial stability, shared values, partnership? What's more important to you? None of the above? What's the most important factor in dating? Right? Love, financial stability, shared values, or partnership. If these are my four choices, I'm going with shared values. Shared values. We got shared values. We can build on that. Love, man. Love you today, hate you tomorrow. It is what it is. That's just too volatile. I don't really care about love that much. I mean, you want her to be into you, but a woman can love you on Monday and hate you on Thursday. So it is what it is, and then be in love with you again by Sunday. It's just wild. If one spouse earns 10 times more, who should make the financial decisions? The higher earner? Is it an equal vote? Or does it depend on the situation? All right. So if one spouse earns 10 times more, who should make the financial decisions? That's a good one. And this is the thing that kills women. This is the thing that kills women. Right? Because it's like, man, I'm making all this money. Do I defer to this man's decision? Like, shit, he ain't made no money like this. He don't know what he's doing. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. If I'm in a situation where she's earning 10 times more than me, I will probably defer, especially if we're talking about a financial decision that affects what she has going on. I'm going to defer to her. Like, hey, you go ahead and make that decision. Now, if it's a financial decision that affects both of us, then yeah, we can sit down and talk. 'Cause I just look at women. If there's a woman who's worth millions, tens of millions of dollars, and she earned it, like it wasn't given to her. It's like she didn't get it through divorce. She didn't inherit it. Like she earned the money. I'm gonna defer to her decision when it comes to finances. And we're gonna sit down and we're gonna have that conversation. As the leader, right? As the commanding officer, this is what we're gonna do. And as my XO, yo, you're in charge of the finances, babe. As my XO, that's what's up. You're in charge with our finances together. Because I'm pretty sure she's gonna keep her money separate. I'm gonna keep my shit separate, and then we're gonna have our joint accounts or whatever. I have no problem putting her in charge of that. Right? I can, me. I'm gonna delegate that to her. I'm gonna keep my eye on it. Make sure things are good. Like, oh, I see we moved $200,000. What's going on with this? You're like, oh, there was an opportunity, right? So I was able to jump on that opportunity. We moved 200,000 over, but we earned 20% on that, and we got the money back already. Like, oh, sweet, that's what's up. So I'm also learning. But yeah, you, I would definitely defer to her. Now, if she inherited the money or she got it through divorce, nah, I doubt if I put her in charge of the money. It depends on how she is financially. We got to sit down and just figure it out. We got to figure it out. But who should who if one spouse earns 10 times more, who should make the financial decisions? The higher earner? Is it an equal vote, or does it depend on the situation? Can two CEOs successfully run one household? You know what? Let me put let me put this in there. I wonder if this will let me put this in the chat. See if I can drop this in the chat. There it is. There's the question. I'm gonna drop these questions in the chat. Yeah, City Boys, man. City Boys up for real, man. City Boys are definitely up, man. Can two CEOs successfully run one household? All right, can two CEOs successfully run one household? I'm gonna say no to that. I'm gonna say no. I don't believe they can. Someone has to be in charge, bro. Someone has to be in command. Has dating become more like interviewing someone than getting to know them? Ooh, we'll put this one in there. I'm curious. And yeah, do me a favor, man. Like put y'all answers up in the joint. Has dating become more like interviewing someone than getting to know them? I know that women come at me right away. When we're out here, like the first date, you sitting around just having drinks or whatever. When you get to that point, now I have modified, like when I'm sitting down having ice cream with a chick, and she's eating butter pecan or whatever. We're just sitting there, and I might be eating mint chocolate chip or whatever the case may be. And we're having a good conversation, and you can tell she's into it because she's taking her spoon and digging it into your ice cream, and you take your spoon and dig it into her ice cream because you're trying to dig into something later, right? You feel me? But these questions come up, man. These questions come up. How much do you earn? Where do you work? You know, um, these questions come up, and it's more like an interview, like a real flirtatious interview, but it's an interview nonetheless. So yeah, dating has become more like interviewing someone, bro. Would you rather someone who brings love, money, peace, or ambition? Throw that in there. And these questions get all smushed together because I'm just cutting and pasting, and they get smushed together. But would you rather marry someone who brings love, money, peace, or ambition? Which one? And then let's talk about some stats, and then we'll wrap this up. Right. So the median age at first, the first marriage in the US is now around 30 for men and 28 and 29, 28 to 29 years old for women. Several years later than it was a generation ago. right? So a generation ago, people were getting married younger. Now they're getting married older, right? Roughly 45% of married couples are dual full-time earners, making the two-income household a common model. Back in the day, like when I was coming up, you had the one full-time earner, the breadwinner, and then like that was dad, and then mom was probably doing, Avon, Mary Kay. She's like maybe running like a little babysitting business or something like that, like babysitting a little bit. And it was like that was like in the mid 70s, I would see that. And then it got like around the 80s, everybody was working. Mom and dad were both working full-time jobs. Right. That's when childcare became a thing and latchkey kids became a thing. I was a latchkey kid. We would have our key around our neck and we would walk home and let ourselves in, lock the door behind ourselves. Right. But before that, it was just you only needed the one earner and then maybe mom made a little money on the side. Right. So 45% of married couples have dual households. That's probably up over 50% now. Women now earn a majority of bachelor's and master degrees in America, contributing uh, to changing educational and career dynamics in the dating market. And this number right here, like this stat, yeah, women they're killing it in school. They're coming out with degrees, but then they come out and these degrees don't really make them a lot of money and they got student debt. But there's some women out there who come out with STEM stuff. A few the women come out, doctors and lawyers, they're killing it. But the fact remains women are doing better than men academically. And we all know, historically speaking, if you have a college degree, you're going to make more money over your lifetime than you would if you didn't have a college degree, right? Those are just the stats. Um, so research on assortative mating shows people are increasingly marrying others with similar levels of education and income, particularly among college graduates. Hypergamy, hypergamy. It is what it is. If more women are graduating from college than men, then those women are going to have a hard time finding someone at their level or higher. And a lot of these women can't get higher, but they definitely want at their level. Women aren't dating down where men don't care. Right. Again, this is a red pill talking point that mainstream can't get around. And the stats back it up. The stats back it up. Housing affordability has declined significantly in many metropolitan areas, making dual incomes more important for achieving home ownership. Right. And most Americans can't buy a house today. Even if it's two of them, they can't buy a house today. You got people now coming together. There might be four of them on the loan trying to buy one house. Two couples trying to buy one house. I've seen people try it. And if you're going to do something like that, man, do it with family. If you're going to do it, make sure your paperwork's tight. You got four of y'all buying one house and then a couple breaks up. Okay, who's going to pay for what? You know what I mean? Like it's wild, man. It's wild. We got brother Ronan in the building. What's happening, fam? Good to see you. Good to see you, man. So I put those questions in there, man, just to see what you guys think. If you're watching this on Team Replay, do me a favor and just answer the questions in the chat, in the comments, because I'm curious. I want to know, where you guys stand on that. So in closing, maybe we've been asking the wrong question. The question isn't whether traditional marriage is better than modern partnerships. The question is, what kind of relationship is today's economy encouraging us to build? Real talk, man. Real talk, fellas and ladies who might be watching this, right? Have we replaced love with logistics? Have we replaced husbands and wives with co founders? Or have we simply adapted to a world where success, wealth, and independence have changed the way we think about commitment? Right? I really don't know the answer, to be honest with you. But I do know this: the language has changed, the expectations have changed, the incentives have changed. And when incentives change, people change. Right. So I'll leave you with this final question: are you looking for a husband or a wife, or are you looking for a partner? And are those really the same thing anymore? Right? Real talk. Are those really the same thing anymore? So Let me know. Let me know what you guys have to say about that. You know, we're definitely going to be revisiting this. I want to get some women on here live that I can talk to and kind of bounce these theories and ideas off of them and bounce some questions off of them and get some answers. Um, and that's what I'm going to be out this weekend doing. I'm trying to line up some women who will be willing to kind of jump on. And what's probably going to happen, because what I've seen, I'll get a woman to say, yeah, you know what, I'll definitely do it. I want to talk about it. I want to come on your podcast. And then just trying to schedule it live with them is always a problem. So what I'm going to do is next time I get a woman to agree to have this conversation with me, I'm just going to next day, boom, send them a link and I'm just going to pre-record it. And what we'll do is we'll take that pre-recording and react to it live. So we'll have her, her on there, and the rest of us will be watching it live, and we can react to what she's saying and kind of throw our input in there. So that's what I'm working on now. I'll definitely be out this weekend. Again, trying to find, it's hard, man. It's like finding a needle in a needle stack, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get out here. I'm gonna find me a woman, and then gotta holler at my cousin, but she's real busy and she travels a lot. So again, just trying to coordinate the time is tough. But if I can get her to do it, right, it'll be a great conversation because she brought up some really good points. But I will say this: for the vast majority of us, like not the 5%. Let's remove the 5%. For just regular people, if you're a man out here and you're trying to find yourself a wife, or if you're looking for a merger and you're trying to find yourself a co-founder, whatever it is you're looking for, the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to become the best version of yourself. Still, get the money, get your social skills up, network your ass off, make good, solid financial decisions, get your money to work for you. And before you know it, you'll look up and have all these women checking you out, all these women putting themselves in your orbit. You'll be like Jupiter with all those moons rotating around you, in orbit around you, right? That's the best way to do it. And then once you put yourself in that situation, you can choose. You can choose which women you're going to give it a shot with. And then when you do decide on one and you want to take it the distance, if indeed you do want to get married, do not forget to do your paperwork. If you're going to let someone live with you, make sure you do your cohabitation agreements. Make sure you have these conversations, as uncomfortable as they may be. Make sure you're out here protecting your assets. When you're young, you can bounce back fast. I ain't gonna lie to you. It can help you if you get your face cracked when you're young and get your money back. But if you're older, you really got to protect what you have. Even if you don't have much, you want to protect it because someone will try to take it, right? So that's that. That's this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Appreciate the chat. Appreciate everybody, coming in, doing what they got to do and all that good stuff. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday, Crime and Punishment Tuesday. I'm not quite sure what we're going to talk about. I'm still looking at some stuff. But we'll definitely have a decent Crime and Punishment episode lined up for you. I was thinking about talking about the Tates again. People are talking about how to, Andrew Tate and all these wild and crazy things. Like, I've never seen so many people, celebrate someone suffering. It's a lot of people out here, they hate that dude. But they keep talking about like, yeah, he's in solitary confinement but he's tweeting, he's on X. Like, you can't do that. If you're on solitary confinement, they got you. If you're on 23-and-1, you don't have a device, man. They don't let you use your tablet. And even if you do have a tablet inside, you don't have access to the free internet. So how is it he's sending, what I'm saying? Like, he's tweeting or Xing or whatever you call it. How is it he's on Twitter? More than likely, he has his tablet. He just doesn't like the situation he's in, and he's sending messages to someone on the outside who has his phone, and then they in turn post the tweet or whatever for him. But I was thinking about maybe talking about Andrew Schultz. I don't know. We're going to talk about something tomorrow. So be ready for a Crime and Punishment Tuesday episode tomorrow. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys, man. I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed As always, talking to you guys, man. Appreciate y'all. Brother Donald J. DeMarco. Who else do we have today? Marriage calls, divorce, man. I see you everywhere, bro. Appreciate you. Mandrell was in the building. We had This Is Shaw. Make sure y'all check out Shaw's 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturday. Check out his platform and his podcast, please. We have our Aaron Clary, 5870, who gave $2. I mean, if it was Aaron, thank you very much. If it wasn't Aaron, whoever you are, thank you for the $2 super chat, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, Mandrell was in the building. Brother Pablo was in the building. We had Dr. B in the building. So appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. I really do. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Y'all know that, but I'm talking to the people who are watching this on Team Replay. Check out the shorts, man. We're dropping like 10 shorts a day. We're just going to keep dropping shorts. Check out the shorts and all that good stuff. And that's it. I will see y'all tomorrow. I'm DL Saint. This is the I Really Want to Know podcast. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.
Thanks for watching. Really appreciate your support. And if you like that video, check out this one or maybe that one. We'll see you around. Peace.